This computer. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca Drury. I am an associate director here in the Office of Admissions at the College of Charleston. We're so excited to be coming to you tonight to talk a little bit more about the iCharleston program. And we are luckily joined by some of our former iCharleston students, which you will get to meet a little bit later tonight. But to start things off, and get us going about the iCharleston program is the director, Dr. Bruce, if I can get his name right, Dr. Bruce Fleming.
Thanks, Rebecca. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Congratulations. This is the kind of the momentous time of the spring, the very exciting time of the spring, at least in my academic year, when we start sending offers out and we start getting opportunities ready for our iCharleston program for the fall. I have been at the College of Charleston since 2002. I've been in higher education for 25 years. I came from Washington State University, and I've done living learning communities. I've taught in first-year experience abroad programs. I've done international internships. I've worked in residence life. I've worked in new student programs, and am now housed in academic experience, which is kind of our office to support students across the campus academically, socially, personally. About 7 years ago now, I designed and implemented iCharleston with a great deal of help from our admissions friends. We began with our first cohort in 2014. It was a pilot project. It was a boutique operation. We had 21 students that first year. But it's grown 6 cohorts, our last cohort being fall 2019. And we've had over 300 students in the program since 2014. We have 3 wonderful iCharleston alumni with us that I'll introduce to you a little later. And you're going to have a great opportunity to kind of see what this program is like, what the student experience is like, what it was kind of created for. And these students will be giving you that opportunity to really kind of understand their experience and what that dovetailed into the College of Charleston experience through this International Bridge program. So I'm really proud to talk about our retention right out of the gate. Our retention numbers are 92% from fall to spring, which is an outstanding number. So 92% of the students succeeding from the fall experience arrive at the College of Charleston campus. If you take a look at those numbers across the nation academically, that is by far one of the top numbers in retention. We developed iCharleston as part of a strategic plan back in 2013, 2014. We wanted to promote high impact practices, and this really included the notion of first year experience abroad or first year international experiences. One of the goals we had with the College of Charleston was to interact with a set of students that we knew could be successful and wanted to give them a great opportunity so we could start building affinity to the College of Charleston with them through a dedicated international bridge program. We have 3 partners that we work with, 3 locations. Our partners in London and Dublin are called Foundation for International Education. Foundation for International Education has been around since 1998, and it's one of the foremost first-year abroad study programs in the world. When we went and developed this program and we visited several locations in London, we kept cycling back to Foundation for International Education because what they did in their academic experiential component was to really show the students not only the classroom-based learning, but how to apply it outside of the classroom. They really kind of matched our vision and our goals for the program. And we really thought that it was a great fit. And so we've built our program around London and Dublin as our kind of bases. 2 years ago, we wrote American University of Rome and became partners with them, which has been around since 1969. It's the longest serving American accredited institution in Rome. And as a small liberal arts institution in a beautiful neighborhood called Trastevere, it really, really dives deep into the learning experience and allowing students to culturally engage within the university, the neighborhood, the city of Rome, and really grow as individuals and mature and understand kind of their componentry to how they will interact in their academic career. All of our locations, London, Dublin, and Rome, have academic support. They've got housing, they've got care support. A lot of the resources that our group of students will talk about are very familiar resources from anyone going to university in the US. They're beautiful locations. In Dublin, you are in a wonderful urban environment that looks very much like the College of Charleston. In London, you are in an environment, Kensington, one of the most beautiful neighborhoods probably around the entire world. Rome, I mentioned Trastevere, is this outstanding, beautiful, historic neighborhood above the River Tiber, looking out over the Vatican and a variety of the areas down in towards the city of Rome. Part of the program is having site directors with our students. So our site directors are hired for 3 reasons. One is that they have the knowledge of the College of Charleston, so they're recent graduates. These are students who have graduated in the last couple of years, who've had their own study abroad experience. And then the other reason that they're hired is that they have a lot of experience with first-year students. So they may be orientation interns, they may have been peer facilitators, they may have been Charleston 40 tour guides, maybe in resident assistants, but they've had a great deal of experience working with first-year students and can support that transition from high school to college abroad, as well as returning to the college in January when our students matriculate onto our campus as second semester full-time students. They live with the students, they live in the cities, they're there when the students arrive, and they're there the entire time. They return with them to College of Charleston in the spring semester and help guide them through that transition. So they become a resource person for their first year student success opportunities. Academically, every class that you'll take at the College of Charleston's iCHS program will transfer back to the College of Charleston. You do have to get a C grade or higher, that is national transfer policies. But once you get that, you will be taking those classes back onto the College of Charleston campus, and you will be on time for a 4-year graduation, just like any other student who started in the fall of 2021. You have 5 classes that you will take. You'll have 2 required at each location. There is a cultures class required, which allows you to kind of engage with the local culture, the local understandings, the variety of learning and knowledge around that campus will be based specifically in that class. And then there'll be another required class, and then you'll choose 3 additional classes from 12 or so classes from that perspective. And lastly, just remember that as the letter stated, we do still require that 2.6 GPA in the end of the fall semester and 12 transferable credits. That's what we deem as success in iCharleston, and that will matriculate onto the campus. So more information's on our website. You can clearly take a look at everything on the website, get all that information, a lot of videos, links, and all that stuff. But more importantly, I want to introduce our students here in front of us. So we have Katie Phillips. If you just raise your hand, that'd be great. Katie is from London, fall 2018. Got Dylan Formato, who is London in 2019. And then I've got Ali Moan, who is Dublin 2018. So Katie is going to start, and she's just going to give her background, and then Dylan's going to talk, and then Ali, and then there's a series of questions that Rebecca is going to talk about.
Hi, y'all. I'm Katie. Congratulations on being accepted into iCharleston. I'm originally from Pittsburgh, PA. I am now a junior here at CFC, and I study public health with a minor of healthcare and medical services management.
Hello, I'm Dylan Formato. I'm from Middletown, New Jersey. I'm a sophomore at CFC right now. I went to London, and currently I'm studying communications.
Hey guys, I'm Ali Moan. I am from about Annapolis, Maryland. I'm a sophomore at CFC. I studied abroad in 2019 to Dublin, and I'm a public health major.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. We're going to jump right into our questions here. I know that we had a few come into our email inbox earlier as well, so we'll be sure to get to those. But kind of want to start off with that academic experience. And whoever wants to jump in first, feel free. But what would you say your academic experience was like in the classroom while you were in Dublin and while you were in London?
I think all of my courses over in London were very immersive of that British culture, and they wanted you to be a part of their culture. So it was really interesting seeing how they take on their role of being teachers over there and really guiding us to figure out how to study over here and how to work out all your study habits.
Awesome. Dylan, were you gonna mention something as well?
Yeah, I was just gonna touch on that. A lot of my teachers were very personable. Most of them even had us call them by their first names, which was a little interesting, but it was such a great time. The classes were more fun than they were really good classes.
Allie, what about you? Anything you want to mention on the classroom and academic experience?
Yeah, of course. So I personally loved the classroom experience in Dublin. I felt like the learning was very experiential. We would go and in a class period, instead of meeting in the classroom, we would meet at a museum and we would walk around and really just go around by ourselves, but then regroup in the classroom later that day to discuss everything we saw, which I learn well in experiences like that. And I really liked the class sizes. I don't think I had one class that was over 10 people. And that was amazing for me. And I feel like that definitely relates to College of Charleston when I came back.
Awesome.
And I'll jump in real quick just because we don't have anybody from Rome. Rome is a small campus. It's at any one time has about 450 students. So again, kind of like what Ali said, the classes are very interactive. The teachers are very just excited to have you in there. They're excited to work with you. You get to use Rome as a backdrop. So you may be taking an archaeology of Rome class and you get to go to some of the most amazing sites that you see in pictures and National Geographic and all that stuff, but you're physically going there. Last year, 2 years ago now, I had the wonderful opportunity to meet with the students in 2019 and do a weekend excursion with them. And I was in Sorrento, I was in Naples, I was in the island of Capri, we went to Pompeii. That was all part of the experience. So very experiential, much like Ali and Dylan and Katie have said.
Awesome. What would y'all say your favorite class during the semester was? Katie, you want to start?
Sure, yeah. I personally would say, I believe it was called the Modern and Contemporary Fine Arts. Like Ali was saying, half of our classes didn't even meet in the classroom, which was such a cool experience. We walked to museums and galleries and even looking at graffiti outside of buildings in London. And I think that helped me even explore where I'm staying and understand what life was actually like over there.
Awesome. Nice. Dylan, what about you? What was your favorite class?
I was actually going to say modern and contemporary fine art as well, but I also liked media in Britain. I don't know if it's still called that, but that was a really fun class because we even had a field trip one time where we went to like a newsroom and it was called The One Show and they like brought us through the whole thing. We were even on TV. So that was a really cool experience. Just gets you to get out of the house and experience the city of London like never before.
Awesome. Allie, what about you?
So I would definitely say my favorite class was my Ireland's media course. And I thought it was very interesting because we would have two professors for the course. The one professor would talk about news segments and he would bring us to a live news news taping of one of the head news anchors. And we watched her whole show. In the front row, we met her afterwards and it was really neat. And then in the other teacher, he was more of the film background. And we would just do the coolest things in that class. We went to concerts and we actually got to film a new segment using the high def, using like the boom speakers and with all the lighting. And it was just a cool experience.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. And moving on to our next question. How would you describe the transition abroad, but also the transition back to campus in January?
I personally was very scared to go out of the country. It was my first time going out of the country, especially alone. But the transition going there with the site directors helping us get there, and allowing us to really find ourselves there. They really made sure the process was easy and we were comfortable where we were. And it was really like a small family for us in London. We were all going through the exact same experience. So we all kind of just like branded together and was like, okay, we're going to go through this experience together. And that's really how we got through it. And then coming back, it was the exact same thing. We all knew each other. We were in the position of everyone had that fall semester to meet new people. We have our little cohort here in spring semester. And then we kind of just bounced around. And 2 years, 3 years later, we're still a big group of people that love to spend time together.
Awesome. Dylan, you want to go next?
Yeah,
Or
so
anything to add?
I mean, personally for me, I was a little excited to get out of New Jersey. So when I found out that I was going to London, I was like mind blown and couldn't believe it. So transition there was really fun. Got to meet 40 great people that I still keep in contact with. And as for the transition back to Charleston, it was a little more difficult just because it's like a whole new setting after spending 4 months. But it's like you went to London or Dublin or Rome and you have like a great conversation starter. It's always like something fun to bond with over like with the people you went abroad with. It was pretty good.
Awesome. Allie, what about you?
So me personally, I was terrified. I've traveled abroad before, and I've never gone to Dublin, so I didn't really know anything about it. And I was absolutely terrified. It was really hard to leave my family. But the good thing was I realized the minute that I got onto the bus, everyone kind of banded together. And as Katie was saying, I studied abroad in 2019. Everyone that I went abroad with are still my best friends today. It was scary at first, but with the help of the site directors and everyone that was employed at CFC, it really made the transition very easy abroad. And they were always there if we had any questions, if it was an emotional problem or if it was academic, like it made it very easy. I will say, so coming home, it was like Dylan said, it's a little bit of a transition because we got so used to like college at this place, but it was totally fine once again because once we came back here, we already had our group of friends that were all going through the same thing from abroad, and it was honestly it was really easy. And I loved having a pack, which everyone will have once they come back. And it's just additional academic support, which made everything super easy.
Awesome. Thanks. So I know
real quick,
yeah,
just the one thing I've noticed, and the three of us talked about this when we met yesterday, and I've said to other people who are part of this experience, and you guys grow at a rate that is impressive. I mean, you are able to clearly understand why you're going to university. You're clearly able to pick up those nuances that are critical for student success. I took Allie's group over in 2019. I visited Dylan, I visited Katie, and I saw so much change in these three, but I see it with everybody. And it's the thing I do say to parents a lot, that I may see your student once or twice over a 4-month period, but I notice a difference. So I can't imagine what the parents notice, what the families notice from that perspective. And we know that from a high impact practice of study abroad, all the research shows that students that go abroad come back with a completely different perspective. They're much more engaged. They often are more mature and ready to take on the world. And if we do this at the first year environment, we should just be more successful down the road. And that's the reason we connected with iCHS and created the program.
Awesome. So I know y'all have highlighted on this a little bit with the site directors, but if you could, if you could explain a little bit more, how do you think the site directors helped with your experience abroad, academically, personally, and just kind of explain your relationship that you had with the site directors?
I think for me, they were a connection to home. They were from Charleston, they're CFC faculty. So it was comforting to know that they were there for me. Um, we met with them, I believe, once a week, maybe bi-weekly, but we could literally, I personally could talk to them about anything, roommate situations, personal problems, academic problems, like Ali said. It was really just an easy conversation to have with them. They guide the conversation sometimes, and other times they let you guide it, which is nice. And if you really need a problem, they can help you diffuse that problem with other people in the cohort if there ever were a problem. They also, like I said before, they made you feel at home. There was a sense of comfort in them. And coming back here with them, we met with them once a month at Kudu Coffee, which was amazing. And I wish we could do that now. But it was really just, they helped me so much throughout the whole entire process in London and back in Charleston. And they've been one of the people that I will always reach out to if I need help.
Yeah, I guess just like going along with what Katie said, for me personally, when I went, like obviously the site directors they're still kind of like in charge, but they really do kind of just feel like a friend that's there that you can always talk to. If you're struggling with being homesick, because that's obviously a big problem, not a problem, but you know what I mean. But like they're always like there for you, and they're always such great people. I love my site directors. They're awesome.
So I can't say enough good things about having site directors. I remember when I got on so our site directors all met us at the airport once we got into our locations. And I remember you walk into this new country, it's amazing because you're seeing all these different types of cars and it's just a cool experience. But just to have someone that is able to relate to us, just sitting on the bus going to our new home, it was nice just from that perspective. But I was very close with my site director, and I feel like this goes for everybody. The site directors were all very personable, and we were able to talk about everything. If there was a situation that needed to be diffused, they would come and like mediate the situation. And then another thing, like the whole academic side, they were almost like an accountability buddy. They didn't tell you exactly what you needed to do, but they would tell you, like, they would basically guide the conversation during our meetings for you to discover it on yourself. And at least for me, it was, I never wanted to let them down because they would talk to us about what we needed to do the week prior. And then the next week they would say, so did you do that? And it's kind of terrifying, but it was really good because it definitely, my relationship with my site director definitely led me to success in Dublin. And she, to this day, is someone that I reach out to during the summers, during the school year. And I was really happy to have her help when I was abroad.
That's awesome. I know site directors that no matter where you might have been were very beneficial for y'all, and I know they will continue to be such a great impact on our students in coming years as well. We're going to switch gears a little bit here. You know, y'all are all current students. So now that you are back on CFC's campus, what are some of the things that y'all are involved in on campus?
I am a peer academic coach. So this is within peer facilitator. Normally my kids or other students, freshmen, they are doing the bridge program. Ideally it would be iCharleston students, but since we had that hold off, most of mine are just bridge students or other students who need a little bit of help transitioning to college. I meet with them either weekly or bi-weekly, and I kind of just help them, again, just guide them through that transition from high school to college. And I can definitely feel like some relief from our conversations and helping them schedule their work, schedule free time, and just kind of discussing like what I would discuss with my site leaders.
Currently, I'm not involved in any clubs. I was involved with the surf club for a little while, but there's a whole ton of different clubs that you can do here, and having all these people around you just really makes it easy to find something that you love.
Yeah, so Dylan and I, we both went fall 2019. So the semester we came back, we only were there for about 2 months, and then we all got sent home because of COVID. So I personally haven't had the chance to get really involved in anything yet, but I definitely am hoping to. I've already put the feelers out. I hope to become a peer academic coach, and I also want to be a part of Special Olympics at the school.
That's awesome. And I'm sure I love to hear, especially with Katie, your experience as a peer academic coach, and Allie, you wanting to be, it sounds like you learned and got that interest because of your site directors abroad. So that's awesome. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but if y'all could explain how the classes transfer or work with College of Charleston, and do they count towards your CFC degree? Who wants to tackle? Go ahead, Katie.
I can tackle some of it, yeah. So they do all transfer over. It just depends on humanities, science, social science, all that. Most of the courses that I took over there did transfer for my humanities. So I did get a big chunk of my general education requirements out of the way, which was nice. And they do, if whatever your major is, it could count towards your college degree.
I'll jump in real quick just to kind of explain that as well. So we said this earlier, every single class you take in Charleston will transfer. That's guaranteed. It's on our website. You can actually look and see what course you're taking in London, Dublin, or Rome, and then you can see how it transfers into College of Charleston. You do have to get a C grade or higher, but that's a national transfer policy that's admission specific. But yeah, our students graduate on time. Our 2014, 2015, and 2016 classes graduated at a very almost equitable rate to a traditional student coming in the regular semester on campus in the fall. But it is part of the design, so you're not behind. You will never get to a point where you can't graduate in 4 years unless you select not to take the 15 credits on a regular basis every semester from that perspective.
Awesome. Thanks, y'all. Next question, kind of going back to before you went abroad and that summer going into your semester abroad, what was your biggest fear and what was maybe a challenge you faced while abroad? Who wants to tackle that one first?
So for me, I feel like my biggest fear was kind of just missing my family, because as all high school graduates, honestly, I feel like no one's been away from their family for more than a week max. And I'm personally very close with my family, as I feel like many people are. And I was very nervous on how I was going to be away from them and how I was going to be away from my dogs, because that was a big one. But I feel like, my family, and I feel like a lot of people's families used the app WhatsApp when we were over there. And it has FaceTime, it has like video chat, just like FaceTime would be. And we were able to talk like every single night. The time difference did make it difficult at some points, but if you want to talk to them, the door's always open. So it made it pretty simple.
Awesome. Dylan, or Katie, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with Allie. I'm such a homebody. So that first couple of hours leaving my family, getting on the plane, I'm like, oh my God, I'm leaving them for 3 months. This is insane. This is the first time I'm doing this. What's wrong with me? But like I said before, it's such it's a small family. So like, even though I was missing my actual biological family, they were kind of like in place, if you know what I mean by that. The site directors, like I said, again, it was just like such a family feel to it, which I think was like, I loved that. And then I also just think, I remember Ali saying this a little bit before, but succeeding. I think I was pushed even a little bit harder because I was like, I need to be able to pass these courses, to excel and show Bruce and CFC that I was right for this program and I am a good college student and I can be that.
I guess since Allie and Katie were both homesick, I know people are feeling what I was feeling. My biggest fear going to London was just honestly everyday life, like cooking, cleaning, because I had never done that before. But then being out there and really having to do it on your own, I pride myself on becoming a much better cook than I was. And I know that I can live on my own and be successful at it. So I think that's like a really big point to be a little more mature, and it gives you like more responsibility and you can be successful like that.
And I think, Dylan, you bring up a good point, and maybe if you want to highlight a little bit on that living situation, just quickly, in regards to where did you do your laundry and where did you have food, just to give a little insight for the people who have joined us.
Yeah, so in London, we stayed in South Kensington up on Queensgate Terrace at the FIE building. Easily I will never live in a place as beautiful as that. It was like, I still talk about it to this day. There's so many cafes and restaurants around that area if you want to eat. They also do have communal kitchens on each level of the building. And there's a communal laundry room in the basement. So you don't even have to leave your house to do your laundry, which was really nice. So yeah, it was a great living situation.
Thanks. Allie, you want to mention Dublin real quick?
Yeah, of course. So in Dublin, we lived in Binary Hub. It's in a really nice area in Dublin, really. It's about a 20-minute walk to all the classes, but as Bruce was saying earlier, it's just like Charleston. It's a very nice walk and it's just pretty. And you're walking past the Dublin Castle every single day and you're walking past all these gorgeous sites. But talking about the specific living situation, it was honestly, I will say, I'm a little bit biased, but I feel like Dublin had one of the better like in-room situations because everyone has their own bedroom, everyone in a full-size bed. You have your own bathroom and you have an in-room like kitchen. And it was really nice because our next door neighbor in our apartment building was another group of iCharleston students. So it was nice to become closer with them as we just knocked on each other's door. It was almost like an open door policy. And then our other neighbors were Marist first year students. So it was really cool just extending our bubble. And our laundry was also in the same building. We had trash. There were resident cats that were in our like lobby. There was a kitten at one point. It was a cool situation. I loved it.
Awesome. Katie, anything you wanna add?
Yeah, I think Dylan covered most of London. But I guess one of my like parents' fear was like, where am I going to get the groceries? Because I never went grocery shopping alone. But for London, your house is again on Kensington or on, oh my God, South Kensington. It's been a while. Sorry, guys. Queensgate. That's it. Yes. Sorry. And the school building that you go to is literally right around the corner. And in the middle is Waitrose, which is their grocery store. It has absolutely everything you can ever need. And also there's a Boots right around the corner, which is like a CVS, Walgreens for us. So we're really in this small little community there, and it has everything. So many restaurants, so many cafes. But unlike Allie, we did share rooms. It was more of a dorm room for us. We had little single beds. We had our own bathroom, which is really nice, just 2 of us or 3 of us. But I know it sounds annoying to share a kitchen, but that's what made us so close. We cooked together, we would just sit in there and talk. It was another way of becoming friends with everyone that was living in multiple different floors.
Awesome. Y'all are making me want to go back to Europe. So we talked about that fear and the challenge, but what would you say are some of your greatest successes after having gone through the iCharleston program, maybe during, but also as you return to campus?
I was gonna say, my greatest success, as was my challenge, is learning to live on your own, and really, like, you got to see this whole city and be your own person. So I had a really great time with, like, just figuring out everyday life for myself and making sure that I'm doing well in school. And then I guess after coming back home, I was very proud of myself for, like, doing all this, and you just feel great about yourself afterwards.
Yeah, so for me, I feel like I bet I had many more, but there's probably two major successes that I have just off my head. So the first one would definitely be the maturity that I acquired over there, and just being able to just do everything on my own. And it was also the accountability I had for myself to be on top of assignments, and it definitely like transferred over when I came to CFC. But I feel like the biggest one was, so I wasn't a big public speaker before I went to Dublin, like, at all. Like, I would get such anxiety before, like, going up in front of my class for a presentation. But I was actually chosen to speak in front of FIE at the final, it was like the final presentation, and it was in front of Elon students, Marist students, iCharleston, and all of our professors. And there were probably like 100 people, but it was me and one other like student, and we were able to speak like clearly, and we did a 20-minute presentation, which it was never something I would have thought that I'd be able to do prior to Dublin. Like, if you would have told me I would do that, I would have laughed in your face and be like, yeah, right. But I think that was probably one of my biggest accomplishments for sure.
Awesome.
For me over there, I think it was, again, maturity and accountability. I really was ready to focus on my courses and prove to CFC that I was ready to take these college level classes.
On the email they sent me. Who sent it to?
Sorry, Katie, I think I accidentally muted you.
No, you're good.
Sorry.
No, you're completely fine. But yeah, like I was saying, I think it was just the maturity over there, and which came back over here, and that maturity turned into confidence. Like Ali was saying, I probably would never be able to speak in front of you guys here before I went, but it's really just made me confident in myself, confident in my studies. And I think Dylan said this before, like, you lived in another place for 3+ months, you can really do whatever you set your mind to afterwards.
That's awesome, y'all. And I can't thank you enough for joining us tonight. You have provided some really amazing insights into the program. And I would encourage everyone who is on the call tonight, if you have any questions, to email iCHS, so our abbreviation for iCharleston, iCHS@cofc.edu. We will put that in the chat. Bruce, if you don't mind typing that in the chat for us, so that people have a direct link to ask questions. We have been recording this session as well, and we will be sending it out to everyone. So I know we had some technical difficulties at first, but don't worry, we're here to help you all through this process. And again, I thank you all so much for joining us, and we hope that we will get to see y'all in London, Dublin, or Rome this fall. Thanks, y'all.